YouTubers? It's me, Santi Reviews, here with
Erston.
and
Johnny Drinks.
and we just went to go see Wonder Woman. Yeah, I know you're jealous. Anyway, this is gonna be a spoiler review, so roll the clip. We're back. So, like I said, we went to go watch Wonder Woman, and it stars Gal Gadot and Chris Pine are the two leads in the movie. Gal Gadot, I really didn't know her from anything besides Fast and Furious. And she did okay in that. I mean, she was part of an ensemble cast, but this one, she had to carry on her own at Batman v Superman. So she wasn't really the standout lead. In this one, I think she did a really good job as a standout lead as Wonder Woman.
Yeah, she
What do you think?
Stole the show.
Yeah?
Absolutely. Yeah, I was concerned that Chris was going to just totally take over because he's a little bit more well known than her.
Mm-hmm.
But surprisingly, he kind of did the step back support role and just let her roll with it.
Yeah, let the story be told by her,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was kind of cool. And then Chris Pine, if you don't know Star Wars, or not Star Wars, Star Trek.
Oh my God, boo.
Yeah, sorry. Star
He
Trek.
doesn't watch either of them for the most part.
He can ham it up when he wants to. He can, steal, like you said, steal scenes and stuff. But for this movie, he was good in it. I mean, I liked him. Yeah?
Yeah, kind of Johnny said, he didn't steal the show. He was the love interest, but much in the way if it were a guy superhero, they were kind of he was the Lois Lane of the movie.
Mm-hmm. He didn't do any really big significant things that were just oh my God, without him this could have never ever happened.
Yeah, he was more like a Sherpa, I guess. Through the world, through the war.
Yeah.
That's what I see him like.
And humanity, in a way.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we saw that in IMAX 3D. I recommend you don't see it in IMAX 3D. It's good enough on its own to where you can watch it as a regular digital movie, and you'll be surprised. You actually like the story that it tells, and the action. It's not enhanced by effects too much.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a couple of scenes with her and her acrobatics that seemed a little janky, but and sometimes with the lasso. But I think for most of the movie, it seemed pretty natural.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And then to me, in the 3D, I saw a lot of ghosting in it. So I saw a bunch of outlines and stuff that I kind of had to scratch my eyes and think that I was, oh, maybe my eyes are just dry.
Or maybe it's because you've been
the IMAX
drinking
lenses.
it.
Yeah,
double fisting my
Double
beers.
fisting it. Johnny Drinks over here.
Johnny Drunks.
But yeah, the ghosting was a bit of an issue. I would have probably liked to have seen this maybe in Dolby Digital because how they had the enhanced visual effects.
Yeah, the
But,
aliens. Yeah, like we saw Alien Covenant.
And there was a lot of explosions too, with the war and stuff. So
Yeah.
I think maybe we would have probably gotten a little bit more out of it than when we watched Aliens.
Yeah.
Michael Bay would have been pleased.
No, he would have been. He would have probably thrown the American flag on there, and had Optimus Prime in the background.
Yes.
He was in the trailers.
Oh God, I'm gonna hate reviewing that movie. Anyway, the movie was pretty well paced. The Act 1, it starts off with their explanation of what the Amazon role was and the Greek mythology and all that, and it goes to Themyscira. Am I saying that right? Yeah. And that whole, that's the whole first part was just introduction and who Diana was and who the Amazons were. And I thought, the training sequences were pretty cool.
The fact that it was secretive, that she was hiding it from her mom and her aunt was the one that was teaching her everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
Jenny from Forrest Gump.
Oh, yeah. What I liked was that the island was cloaked, that Zeus cloaked the island from humanity.
Like in a fog.
Yeah.
Like a devil's triangle, I guess.
Yeah. And like I said, that whole first act was pretty good. So you see her grow up to what she is now, Diana. And
Kind of naive.
yeah.
Since she hasn't had exposure to the world, just the story that her mother told her and all that.
Yeah, and then her mother really like really shielded her from everything, you know, and said that she was made from clay, and Zeus brought her to life when, in actuality, Zeus and her mom uh,
Did stuff.
did stuff and had Diana.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened at the end. That was.
Because they explained that she was
She
was
was a
born
direct
of-
descendant.
That's
of
why.
Zeus.
Yeah, that's why at the end when she was like, "Bye, brother," and she kills Ares. It's a spoiler review.
and even
She
Ares.
could be she could
Ares
be a
had said-
Jesus baby. Here's Diana. Take care of her,
I
Hippolyta.
know. I thought she was like a
Awesome.
star baby or something.
Yeah.
Boo.
Anyway, come on, Zeus need to get his freak on.
Zeus slept with
He
a
does.
lot
He
of women.
does get his freak
in
on.
Yeah.
Greek,
So
mythology.
that's what I liked is that it kind of called back to that to.
Slept with
He
a
does.
lot
He
of women.
does get his freak
in
on.
Yeah.
Greek,
So
mythology.
that's what I liked is that it kind of called back to that to where, you know, it showed Zeus what he really was, you know, to humanity, and he had a lot of descendants. But and then it starts off with Chris Pine's character ending up on the island like drowning off an airplane.
Yeah, crashing a plane into the
Mhm.
waters and not able to get out.
Yeah, and then she jumps off. She does that cool super dive into the water and
Superhero dive.
yeah, and saves him. But little to know to everybody else is that Germans are following him. This is all taking place in World War One times, right?
Yeah.
Because you know your hero, the Kaiser row.
The Kaiser.
Yeah, that. So you know, it's kind of a shell shock to the Amazons because they're fighting with arrows, spears, shields, and swords, while these soldiers are coming with guns. So that whole action scene where, you know, where the Amazons fire their arrows, you know, it didn't look like it was gonna do much, but they were accurate. You know what I mean? I guess when all you do all day is train, you get really accurate at shit.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, what'd you think of that whole beach confrontation?
And that was really cool, especially kind of seeing that it was almost like a samurai versus the you know, the modernization of Japan, where they were really awesome warriors, but even still they fell to the gun
Yeah.
in the end.
I think that was actually during that scene. There was one particular part that did stick out for 3D for me, was when the girl had jumped off the cliff and then was shooting the arrow
the
as
three
she was
arrows?
kind of like
Feathering,
repelling and
yeah.
feathering. That scene actually did make sense in 3D because it looked very kind of up front. You could see the arrows kind of shooting off screen. I did like that scene in 3D. Would I justify that one scene to go watch it in 3D again? No, I wouldn't.
The 3D scene I actually liked from that was when Antioch jumps off of the shield and fires the 3 arrows at the Germans.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it comes
That
at
was
the
actually really
screen. It actually goes to the screen. So I actually moved back a moment when they fired, but it was
Yeah.
pretty quick, so it wasn't like too jarring.
Mhm.
My thing was the first time she deflected a bullet. That was kind of cool in 3D because it slowed it down to where when Diana just picked up her arm and deflected it, and she didn't aim it back. And later in the movie, she's able to deflect it to where it goes back to whoever's shooting it at her. And this one, she just timed it just right to block it out. And Chris Pine's character, what's his name?
Steve Trevor. I think.
Trevor.
He's the one who helps Diana, saves her life. And they try to figure out what's going on, and then that's where they find out about World War One, and that he's a spy. And of course, the lasso of truth, which what was it? How did that work again?
The lasso of truth, what it does is it forces you to tell the truth, and if you try to resist it, it actually causes more pain.
That's right. So yeah, he kind of spilled the beans real quick, and then that's where Diana thought Ares, because that's her mom was telling her the stories, that Ares is the reason why mankind is at
Wars.
war.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Diana, you know, against her mom's wishes, takes Steve and gets her armor, the shield, the sword, and the lasso, and is gonna go with them to London to go fight the Germans. And I thought that whole first act was pretty good. You know, like I said, there wasn't really any slow spots, and it was pretty good storytelling. The second act
There is something though that I wanted to point out
Oh.
at the very end of that first act that kind of meant something. Was when her mother gave her the was it the circlet part for her, and it was her aunt's, and she told her that that was the that it was a token of the greatest warrior that the Amazons had. I really did like that part.
Yeah.
I think it's also worth noting, since it's kind of mentioned a little bit later, is the watch that Steve Trevor had
Mm-hmm.
when because she didn't know about watches and time telling and stuff. And he mentions that it's essentially a keepsake from his father.
Yeah.
That his father left him.
And then, well, they go sailing on a boat, and it's like old school, like Viking almost boat. Grecian. Sorry, yeah, Grecian. And she's just there, like he's trying to tell her, like, you know, well, you can sleep here because he's trying to be a gentleman.
Yeah.
And she's just like, you can sleep next to me. It's not really a big deal.
A lot of the concepts that they had of propriety and stuff didn't exist in Amazon culture.
Yeah.
Really.
And then they talk about procreation, which is lovemaking, and she read the whole books, and the funniest part of that was like, she's like, men are needed for recreation, for procreation, but not for pleasure. And his face was just like, but I thought like it, yeah. But that's what I liked about this movie was it was funny, but it wasn't like comedic funny. It was situational comedy.
I do like how on the next part though, where they were trying to have some accuracies, historically, where they roll up into England or London, and the first thing that they try to do is they go to deliver the book to the like it was like a consulate or of like generals and members of whatever high houses,
council,
councils, and they were shocked because she rolls in there and she's a woman. It's like, oh, she's a woman, and everyone's like, ooh.
Yeah.
Don't discuss matters in front of women.
That's what I liked about the actress herself, is even though she's pretty new, I sat there and I was like, oh my god, she's walking into that thing, and it's because we come from that world.
Yeah.
She sold it enough to me where I forgot that I was watching her, like an actress act out that she didn't know, the social constructs or customs or whatever.
Yeah.
She sold it to me.
Yeah.
So I think that's at that point when I thought she's a pretty decent actress. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you watch Tom Cruise and you forget you're watching a movie because it's freaking Tom Cruise and it's the same Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm.
I didn't feel that way. I got lost in the movie, which his hats off to that actress. I thought she was pretty badass.
Yeah, and like we were saying, they get to London, and the whole shopping scene, like she didn't know why people would wear dresses or didn't know.
Yeah, fashion versus form.
Yeah,
Mm.
and I thought that was actually really good that she tried on dresses and stuff, and she tried to fight because she's like, oh, I'm a warrior, I need to fight. This is like so binding, so this and that.
Tearing skirts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hiking up dresses.
And they finally got her in like a trench coat and pants and stuff, which was kind of cool.
No, it was a skirt.
It was a skirt?
And then she had, it was kind of like a trilby hat in a way, but actually more like a boulder, wasn't it?
I don't know. You're the hat genius.
It was
over
kind of
here.
like a boulder in a way, and it had like the feathers kind of on it.
Mm.
It was old timey, so.
Yeah, and then well, the book that he was talking about was from Dr. Poison, which is a lady in the with the Germans that was making gases. Instead of mustard gas being sulfur, it was
a hydrogen base.
hydrogen base to go
Bypass gas masks.
There we go. And so he gives it to them, to the higher ups, and they're like, well, nothing we can do. We're trying to get peace. We're trying to do,
Get an armistice signed.
Yeah, and so don't worry about it. And then that's where Diana kind of gets mad at the generals that are there because they're just like, no, well, millions die, so what? And she kind of took real offense to that. And that's where Trevor was like, you know what, now we'll do it. Like, they forbade them to go anywhere, but he was like, no, we're going to go. And to prove that he was telling the truth, he grabbed the lasso and told her, like, yeah, this is what I really want to do.
We'll do this, like, behind their backs.
Yeah, low key. And then they roll up to the bar, and I think their miscreants are pretty funny. It's like their band of crew, motley crew they
like
get.
a ragtag crew of just rough, not even ruffians, just kind of leftovers
Yeah.
for the most part.
And like she sees that other people, it's not just for your fighting ability. It's the actor that was there, like being able to smooth talk somebody so you can bypass.
Yeah.
And then the drunk that's getting beat up was just like he was just a broken man, essentially. And from that point, who was it that let him go?
Sir Patrick.
Sir Patrick. He was one of the higher ups that was like, no.
Really trying to spearhead that peace
Yeah,
armistice.
and he was just like, yeah, you guys go, and he gave him money and told him to go, and they let them use his office to
Sort of coordinate their mission.
yeah, coordinate the mission, and it was pretty good. So that second act was pretty good, and to end it was the whole trench scene, where you see Diana start showing her powers, because in the beginning all it was training, and you really didn't see her like use her strength or use anything. And with this one, with the trenches, you see all that and more. I thought that was a well-did action scene. It was like a good 5-minute, 6-minute action scene.
Probably, yeah.
Probably.
It's a good amount of lead up, kind of showing the cruelties of war
Mm-hmm.
that you got to finally see firsthand.
I like the fact that they made it a point to say that it was no man's land and that they hadn't even gained but like maybe an inch in a year of being there during this war. And here she rolls up, like I'm tired of this, and she makes the entire group of Germans have to push back, and everybody just storms the city. And there they go. They're actually inside the city where a year ago they were the exact same stalemate that they were.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then he's like, that's what I liked about Chris Pine's character, is that he couldn't do any of that, but she's the one tearing ass through the whole thing, and he's just there picking up crumbs, like just shooting people, like nothing, just like one guy here, one guy there, but she's the one taking out tanks, taking out snipers, doing all that basically alone, and he's just picking up whatever's left, like the remainder. And so I thought that was pretty cool, and that to me that was a good second act, because it kind of built up, to them going up against the Germans and going to that gala. But there's a scene in there that you really didn't particularly like, is where
The kissing scene where they're in the little room and stuff. I felt it was kind of forced, like they just kind of put that there to have the love scene. And I mean, I understand they had to do it for other reasons, but I still felt like the scene was kind of forced.
yeah. What'd you think?
I find it a little bit hard because I felt like they kind of needed it to sort of establish that, but I don't know if they had done it differently, if they could have established as an intimate of a connection as her and Steve, I guess, were supposed to have by the end of the movie.
I think it could have just been a better job of it. They could have just done a better job for that.
Yeah, but I think it would have slowed down the movie.
Yeah, as I say, I think because of the pacing of the movie, they had to kind of like have it quick and done it
Yeah.
over with.
What, did you want a sex scene or what?
No, I didn't want it at all, really. Like, even the make-out, like, slight kiss scene, like, they could have just... It felt forced. If they would have had a sex scene, it would have even been more forced. It's like, oh, okay, they're putting that in there just because. Gotta have that.
Okay, well, Act 3, it started off after the whole lovemaking thing. That they find out the Germans are having a gala, and I forgot what that guy's name is. The one who...
General Lunden.
Was he a general or a colonel?
I think
No,
I'm
yeah,
pretty sure
I
it's a
think he was
general.
a general.
General Lundenberg.
Yeah, Lundenberg or
I
something
think.
like that.
Something like that.
He's having a gala to show off the new gas that Dr. Poison.
So I guess technically it was actually like supposed to be. It was supposed to
It
be.
was supposed to be
arm
for
assist
the
only.
armed assist.
Yeah.
Oh,
arm assist.
yeah.
That wasn't intended to be weapons launching.
And then, well, they find out how to get in there, like Steve and his friend. Yeah, find out how to get in there. And then Diana kind of jacks a woman's clothes and gets
Yeah.
and gets in there, and she wants to kill that general, but Steve stops him, or her stops her, and then with him stopping her, he launches the gas at the city they just saved. Everybody died that they just saved, which was kind of heartbreaking, and she kind of loses it.
Kind of blames him.
Yeah.
As if, if she'd been able to kill him, that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
Kind of loses her faith in humanity a bit.
What'd you think?
Yeah, it's pretty much exactly what Erston said. She kind of lost faith for a little bit there, but it would be kind of a human reaction that she had. I really did like that she had a human reaction, and we'll explain why that was kind of important to me, why it was a human reaction.
Yeah, and go ahead.
I'll say I think it's also really the breaking point of her sort of naive worldview that humanity is good,
Yeah.
and that it's Ares that makes people evil.
And she also thought that general guy was Ares. Remember?
Mhm.
And then so the Motley Crew of guys figures out, follows that general, and leaves a smoke signal so Diana can follow. And she's riding that horse, and she goes to the base camp where they're storing all the gas, and that's where the whole fight scene starts off with her and the general, sorry, the general, and Dr. Poison gave him pills that had gas in it.
Gas that enhances.
It enhances his strength and stuff. So they kind of tangle. It was like a 2-minute fight, and she kills him.
I kind of thought that was actually gonna be a little bit bigger of a fight, not really him just getting his ass whooped.
Well, he held his own for a little bit, and then she overpowered him.
Then she broke out her Amazonian training.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he can really say he held his own. He held his own for like maybe 2 hits
Yeah.
of his own. I mean, it wasn't just like a slaughtering, but I kind of thought there was going to be more to it.
Like we were saying earlier, the pacing probably, because the movie...
They had to get to the next
Yeah,
part.
they had to move on. But she kills him, and she finds out that, he's not Ares.
And that people are still loading up the bombs, getting ready to send them over
Yeah.
to London to drop them.
And then Ares shows up, and surprise, surprise, I didn't see this coming, did you?
I did not. It was Sir Patrick.
Did you see this twist?
Did not see this twist at all. I was kind of disappointed when they showed Sir Patrick, because of the visual effects.
It's kind of the flashback of when he's cast down by Zeus, and
They photoshopped like his face on this 20-year-old like buff ass body,
that's like
ugh.
a 50-ish, not quite
Maybe
cresting 60,
not
looking
quite, yeah.
dude, like his kind of face on like a 20-year-old Arnold body or something.
That part was disappointing. When we saw that.
But I like the fact that he explained he's tried to persuade Diana to, join him because humanity is its own worst enemy. Like Zeus created a horrible. His creation was really horrible. It wasn't as pure as everybody thought it would be. And I thought that was kind of cool. And then, of course, she doesn't want to do that. So they fight it out, and she finds out her truth. And what do you think about that whole plot twist?
That the god killer was not actually the sword, but her,
Yeah.
because she actually was a god. I don't know. To me, it wasn't that really wasn't an important part of the story. I didn't think in the end.
No.
It was more her and her views and like her take on humanity that was the most important, I think. And that was just sort of the plot device to kind of keep it going.
I think they tried to imply it And that's where I was saying about, like, she was thinking like a human because she was a god
Mhm.
or a goddess. And, throughout the entire movie, I kind of kept getting the vibe like, okay, she's a god or, goddess in this. And, I mean, when her aunt was dying, the god killer, I'm dead. They didn't get to it. It's like, okay, so what was the point? They were talking about it. And then she was saying about the sword. And then, of course, the sword breaks, and, like, pretty much right after, they're like, oh, well, it wasn't the sword that was the god killer, it was you, when they actually announced it. But I felt like throughout the entire movie, when they kept saying about god killer, they were talking, especially when the mom was talking, and she was like, the stronger she gets, the sooner he's gonna find her.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that pretty much gave it away right there for me.
And I thought it was pretty cool. And then, of course, the best part of that was when Ares puts the armor on, and then he uses his 2 fingers to make the helmet eyes. I thought that was kind of cool. That whole fight scene, and Diana really couldn't hold her own against Ares.
God of
Until
War.
yeah.
She need to call Kratos. Just kidding.
And what really turned her around was Steve Trevor's death. And if you want to go and take it.
Sure. So, I mean, while this battle's going on, I mean, the plane is still being loaded with this gas to go bomb London. Steve and his crew, they gotta stop it. I mean, Diana's got her own thing, but they've got to stop the war. So, he essentially, he sacrifices his life. He commandeers the plane, flies it up as high as he can, so that the gas disperses in the air when it explodes, as opposed to.
Well,
they were mentioning that it would ignite.
So it ignite.
In if the plane crashed, it would just ignite and go off anyway. So he sacrificed his life, and before he does that, though, he actually leaves Diana his watch and gives her a message. But at the time, she was shell shocked from explosions from Ares, that she can't hear what he's saying. But he leaves her the watch and then takes off, flies it up, explodes.
And then she hears it right after.
And then she kind of, I think, really focuses and thinks about it again and hears his message.
That he loved her, and that's where the whole thing with that one scene with the make out part, I guess, kind of makes some sort of sense, I guess.
I think it was that, and seeing that the other guys in this team were still fighting to the end.
Then he also made the ultimate sacrifice for what he believed in, because that's what he was. He was just like, it just depends on what you believe in.
And what his father said, you can either do 2 things, do nothing or do something.
Yeah. And so she realizes her power, and she takes on Ares, and she beats him. I thought that was pretty cool. The only thing is, after Ares died, you had a gripe with it. What was the gripe?
The ending was kind of a little, like they just had some magic ending where Ares dies, and then now all these Germans are there, and let's hug it out now, and they literally hugged it out for the most part, and that was the end of the war.
Yeah, and I think we were talking about it a little bit on the way home, and it was like, was it the influence of the magic? Is that kind of what they wanted you to think, or was it that they really didn't want to follow these orders, but they felt they had to? They felt compelled to because of the general. I think it kind of leaves that up in the air a little bit, but yeah, it's kind of weird. We're all happy this hugging out thing's happening, but I don't know. There's no way to know if the soldiers knew about the armistice, so there's no way for them to really know if the war really was over or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, like I said, it was a great. So that's wraps up our review. I mean, basically, right?
Unless you want to talk about the ending part where it goes back to the present day, and she emails Bruce Wayne back for the photo of Chris Pine or Steve Trevor and his crew with her when they liberated Belt. She emails him back thanking him.
Well, he already talked about it. So what do you think?
Yeah. And then jumps off into the sky.
It was a nice scene where she's jumping off, but I didn't see why she was jumping off. It sounded like bombs were going off, but she kind of jumped off.
I was kind of hoping there'd be an invisible jet.
Yeah. Yeah, did you start spinning around or something?
That'd be cool.
But yeah, I thought it was a good movie. Like I said, I'd watch it again. I'd get it on DVD or streaming when it comes out. And so it's worth it to me. Is it worth it to you?
Definitely worth it.
8 out of 10 waffles.
And like I said, it's probably the best DC movie that they've made so far. So that's our review, the Santi reviews, and what?
Erston.
I'm Santi reviews.
I'm Erston.
I know. And then?
I'm Johnny Drinks.
So, alright, what?
I was gonna say, there's one thing
Oh,
that I think they kind of
Jesus.
spoiled. Like, I don't think I was really wondering if she was a woman or not. I kind of figured that out at the beginning of the movie.
I don't
Why?
know.
What was the point of that?
I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to do The Mummy next week. It's probably just going to be me and this guy right here, Two Thumbs Up McGee, and Goslin. So keep an eye out for that. All right, see y'all next week.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah.
Comment down below. We'll reply.
For these two idiots and me, and we'll respond. All right, bye. And we're back. Jesus. All right, he's out of shot. He's up dancing.
What?
Ugh.
He's up dancing.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Anyway, we're back.